So, hi, my name is Caroline Henry. I am very happy to be live with you today with my friend Cédric Moussé on Earth Day. I've known Cédric since I came to Champagne 14 years ago, and I am really happy that we will be able to talk about, the ecology in Champagne and about all the things that are happening that not too many people are talking about. So, Cédric, please introduce yourself to the people, and then we can talk about the different projects that you are orchestrating these days.
First, thank you, Caroline, to be your guest today. That's right that we are friends since start a long time. I'm Cédric Moussé. I'm a champagne producer. I work in Vallée de la Marne, in a small village of Cuil, mainly Meunier. Today we work 85% Meunier, 12% Pinot Noir, and just a little Chardonnay. I'm grower since 2003, and I'm the fourth generation of grower because this is my great grandfather Eugene, who make his first wine in 1923. Voilà. So.
Okay. All right. So, Cédric, in the little post that I wrote before, I was talking about the fact that you had this climatic well. When I first met you, you did this building. It was based on the climatic well, Le Puits Canadien in French. So maybe, you talk a little bit about that,
Mhm.
about why you're so interested in the environment. If I remember right, you studied environmental studies. And then maybe you can talk a little bit about the project that we have or that you have going with the robots in the vineyard, which
Mhm.
obviously are against herbicides. So it's something very close to my heart.
Of course. Now, the beginning of my story, after school, I traveled different place, and I work in the Comité Champagne in the experimental cellar. And finally, I learned a lot during this moment of my life. This is wonderful memories. And after, when the Comité Champagne start to work about the plan climat, we was the first production of like wine or food or to organize a carbon footprint in
Yes.
2003. So the champagne was the first, and I was a little bit in the middle of this project, and I learned a lot. And that's why in 2009 we built our winery with a very sustainable direction, because I did my first carbon footprint in 2003.
Okay.
Voilà. So it's very interesting because this is the base for the following carbon footprint. I does one more in 2022, and finally, uh, in 20 years, we decrease the carbon emission per bottle per two, so like 50% less.
Oh, wow.
And my goal is arrive to net carbon zero in 2030, so still 5 years.
Okay.
Uh, Voilà. So of course, when you are in that spirit, you everything that you do every day, every small investment, and every choice that your team do and that I do should think about that. So we work the vineyard in organic way, we work the vineyard in biodynamic way, like very scientific biodynamic, but also in parallel, we try to be very serious about the global impact to Earth. And of course, if you visit our winery, it's so much small details for try to do better day after day. Um, in Japan, they call that Kaizen. The Kaizen come from Toyota in 1970. And Toyota was a not really good car in 1970, but in Toyota they do the Kaizen. So every day, each day they try to do something better than the precedent day. Voilà.
Okay.
Just one detail. but week after week, month after month, year after year, you improve a lot your work. And my team and me try to do the Kaizen, and every day we try to do one small detail better than the precedent day. And finally, if you use this philosophy for this spirit for try to go in a direction, make a better wine, of course, try to work in a more and more good like vibration and good condition for your team, and of course try to respect more and more earth. um, the process become very wonderful, and we do that with passion. Voilà.
Okay.
So this is very exciting. So that's right. That
Yes, it's called Kaizen.
Kaizen.
Kaizen. Okay. Wonderful. Yes. So yes, sorry, I interrupted you.
No problem. So maybe the first very important thing was in 2006, 2007 when we start to create a group with a lot of grower that we still know today, like Sébastien Mouzon, Raphaël Beresch, Benoît Tarlan, and a lot of people for work use plant for protect our vineyard. We worked during some year with Eric Petiot, so it was maybe the first the first rocks in the world. And after, in parallel, we worked with my father to develop this winery, so very sustainable because we don't have impact to the earth with this winery because we produce our own electricity. We use the water from the well who come from spring. After we clean the tank, we clean the press. The water go in one other tank, and we use this water for put in our compost. And after, of course, the compost is used for our vineyard. So the cycle is very clean. We have a climatic well for keep good temperature. So this is very simple. This is just hose that we put at 4 meter deep, and during 1 meter and 130 meter, the air pass in this hose, take the temperature of the soil, and arrive in the cellar. So during the winter, you increase the temperature, and during the summer, you decrease the temperature. We produce our hot water, we use natural light. Voilà. We have different system, but the production of electricity, for example, is more important that we use for the two house, for the winery, and for the reception place. Voilà.
Okay. So and the electricity that you produce it via solar energy or
Only solar.
only solar? Okay. All right.
Alors,
That's
this is not in continu, but the global production is more
yes.
important than the global mm,
Production
consumption.
is, yeah. So when you have too much, it goes onto the grid, and when you don't have enough, you take from the grid. Yes.
Exactly.
So very much in line with the project of the CIVC for saving the carbon footprint.
Yeah, because when we does the carbon footprint with the Comité Champagne, we when this is wonderful because when you do a carbon footprint, you see exactly what everything would not work.
Yes.
So we start to do different group for work about the empty bottle, who was 900 grams 20 years ago. Today, 70% of the bottle are now around 835 grams. And we have a group still today in the Comité Champagne who work for create the bottle of the future. Very, 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 very light bottle. We can't imagine for the moment. But this is super interesting. I developed my own bottle. Um, I have some. It's more easy for Cédric alone that for all the champagne or some big brand. You know, when I decide something, it's very quick. Voilà. So I develop one bottle very special because she's light, of course. So we does our bottling last week, and it was a very wonderful success. So the bottle is maybe the more light in the world about sparkling wine. We are at 722 grams per bottle, 722. So the like sparkling one are the more light today are 750.
Yes.
So this is very interesting because you can put more a bottle when they produce the bottle and they bring in a truck in my winery. Normally you put 26,000 bottle per truck. with my bottle is 31,200. So 5,200 more bottles. So this is interesting.
So you diminished the carbon footprint, not just on the weight, but just about everywhere. Have
Mm-mm.
you, you said you just bottled with it, but did you do tests with it before, or is
Yeah.
it the
No,
big
no, no,
thing
no.
now to say
Alors,
it will
we
explode?
have a now we have a wonderful laboratory in the Comité Champagne about the glass. So they test, of course, my bottle. The company who produce the glass tests a lot my bottle. So she's strong, exactly like a classic one.
Okay,
Also, she's a little bit more smaller. So in a full bottle, like when in a finished bottle, normally in a Europe palette you put 480 bottle. Now we have 600 bottle, so
okay.
20% more. Also, you don't change like your machine, just some little thing. You don't
Okay.
change your palette, so no investment. And also, if you divide the higher per the large, it's
Mhm.
the number pi. Voilà.
Yeah.
And about the shoulder of the bottle, I integrate the golden ratio. Voilà. So more about energy. Fibonacci golden ratio is used for create church, cathedral, pyramid,
Okay, yes, yes, yes.
temple. And the idea is when you go in a church, you have a beautiful energy and you
Mhm.
feel really good. Voilà. So maybe my wine feel really good in my bottle.
Well, your wine already feels very good, so
Merci.
it's wonderful. I wrote also that you were the first person in Champagne to use the paper neck foil. The neck foils have had like a lot of interest lately because not everybody wants to use it, but you were the first one to use the paper one. Now, I think one of the reasons, because you mentioned with the bottle that you do not need to change the machines, but from what I heard from friends of mine who wanted to use the paper neck foil, apparently you needed to use your machines. You couldn't use the same machines as the
Uh, yeah,
metal ones.
alors, it's more the machine who press, you know.
Oh, okay, all
And
right.
my old machine was very old and don't work. But now, for example, some producer of machine, when they create the machine uh, with the same machine, you can put or the classic one or the paper one.
Okay, all right. No, that's
So
great because I didn't know. I found out not that long ago about this.
no, it's not a very expensive change.
Yeah. Okay.
But after, if we talk about the carbon footprint, the classic one, it's aluminium, plastic aluminium is like a sandwich. We call
Yes.
complex. So this is completely impossible to recycle. But and of course, you need so much energy for create
Yes.
aluminium. So with a paper, of course, we can recycle and we decrease the carbon footprint per five. Voilà. So I
Okay.
prefer keep one caps. It's a different philosophy, but about the look, I love that. But and I love my new bottle with. It's very simple. Huh? You don't
Yes.
have gold. You don't have. But I choose everything would not have impact to the environment. So voilà, this is my
Yeah.
choice.
So it's great. So you have the new light bottle with the new paper cap. So that's wonderful. So
I'm
Cedric,
super exciting about the light bottle. I don't tell you, but also the light bottle. My goal is that the new bottle tastes tomorrow like a Magnum, almost like a Magnum.
okay. All
So
right.
because the neck normally is 26 millimeter,
Okay.
29 millimeter with 3% gas.
Okay.
In a Magnum, you have 2.4% gas. So in my new bottle, we have also 2.4
Wow.
percent gas, and the next is 3 millimeter more smaller.
Okay. So
So
when you talk about magnums, okay, so we talk about it may have the same flavor, but when we talk about these light bottles, we never talk about magnum bottles. Did you make a light magnum bottle as well or not yet?
it's something like that. If you test a classic bottle of champagne, Magnum, and my new bottle in blind test, you have a big difference between the bottle and the Magnum.
Mhm.
And in blind tests, it's very complicated to find the difference between the Magnum and my bottle.
Okay, all right.
Also, the caps, if we
Mhm.
use the caps, is very more smaller. The cork is more smaller, so you use less cork, less aluminium. Voilà. Uh, one more time, you
Right.
have more
So it's
interesting effect.
better for the environment and it's better for the consumer because they get the Magnum experience in a bottle.
And you have less cork contact with the wine, so
Yes,
more neutrality. In our terroir, we have a very special type of soil. Everywhere we dig a hole, we have some green clay, the
yes,
clay that we use in a cosmetic. And my meunier are very maybe have beautiful identity, and I look for maximum of neutrality. Less we have makeup,
okay,
less we have mask, and more my wine is my wine. Voilà. So
okay,
every choice also that I do since some year is to go in that direction. Is that why we don't use enologic product? That's why we remove completely the petrol sulfur.
okay,
We continue to use some sulfur, but this is some sulfur that I produce. So this is rocks of sulfur who come from Poland that I burn. So we have like pure sulfur. This is
yes,
S, and I put a fire in a special machine that I develop, and
yes,
we bring some O2, some pure oxygen, and during the burning we create SO2. Voilà. So we burn 2.5 kilo in 16 hours, and with 2.5 kilo today I produce all my bottle per year. So for give you idea, with 200 grams we produce more than 10,000 bottles.
okay.
So this
All
is
right.
very, very, very efficient one.
Mm-hmm.
And if you analyze today my wine, all the wine are less than 20 milligrams of total sulfur, and
Okay.
less than 10 very soon.
Okay. Do you still, because at one point you were recycling the CO2 from the fermentation to neutralize the juice when it came from the press.
Yes.
Are you still doing
Alors,
that?
of course, finally, you have the small grapes that you cut, you separate from the mother. This is
Yes.
a small baby, very, very fragile, in particular for the meunier, because the
Yes.
meunier have super fine skin. And
Yes.
because I do harvest very, very ripe, it's still more fragile.
Yeah.
So we cut directly the grapes, we put in a small cases of 15 kilo. And
Yes.
after we bring 2 pallet per 2 pallet
Mhm.
to my winery. Alors I'm lucky because all the vineyard is just around the winery.
Mhm.
And we put in a cold room at 8 degrees Celsius
Okay.
the grapes. Like that, we decrease the temperature. And when after we press, more of the juice is cold and less you have oxidation. But the best for avoid oxidation is avoid oxygen. So
Yes.
that's why long times ago, I decided, 1 liter of grape juice produce 54 liter of CO2.
Okay.
So we have so much CO2. So I use the CO2 before put outside. So we have a system where we keep the CO2 from all the Meunier's cuvée. I don't keep the Pinot Noir CO2, Chardonnay CO2, or Thai CO2 for different reasons. And after, we bring per pipeline at the top of each empty tank, just near the press. And the grape juice, alors CO2 is more heavy than the oxygen, so you fill your tank very slowly with the CO2. And after, the grape juice arrive in a tank full of CO2. We don't have any oxidation during all the débourbage time. And we
Okay.
do that also before alcoholic fermentation. When we do the transfer, one more time, the grape juice arrive in a place without oxygen. And that's why with some drop of my mine sulfur, we produce a wonderful quantity of grape juice first and after wine.
Okay. Wonderful. So again, always thinking of the impact on the environment, which is wonderful. So Cedric, today, Earth Day, I want to talk about the soil. I love the soil very much. So I would like to talk about your VitiBot, the robots in the vineyard project, hopefully to eliminate all the herbicides that we see today in the vineyard. Um, because other wine regions are going, are leaving herbicides behind, so it would be really good. Champagne would go the same way. So can you please tell me a little bit about this project?
Mhm.
How did you come up with it? How did you get everybody together to do it, to buy into the project? And you told me this morning that maybe there's other projects, so I'm really interested in the other projects as well, if we can. Thank you.
Alors, I'm completely agree with you, Caroline, because the soil is one of the more important thing
Mhm.
for the wine. And for me, it's a catastrophe to put some chemicals for kill grass or because you don't kill only the grass, you kill life.
Yes.
So of course we have so much solution. Of course, for a winery who come from far, it's a long time to change. Maybe
Mhm.
you need some year to change. But about this particular project, was to buy. First idea was uh, I won't buy one alone. And when we try the tractor, um, the robot completely electric and completely
Mhm.
autonomous. I decided that just after my second carbon footprint, because when you work the soil, you need so much energy.
Yes.
So Quill, we have six place with solar panel. So when we have a beautiful weather, we produce more energy that all the people consume in Quill. We have
Mhm.
only 140 people in this town, but it was the idea to also refill the tractor with the
Okay.
solar energy. Uh, and I have a lot of plot in different place in Cuil and Jancry and Châtillon's Road. And sometimes we have some neighbors who continue to use chemicals. And of course, my roots sometimes are just behind the vineyard of my neighbors. So I'm not big fan of like fight.
Mhm.
So maybe the more interesting solution was to talk with each one and ask maybe to create like something like a cooperative for
Mhm.
buy different tractor.
Okay.
And it was finally very easy because we believe that people use chemicals for pleasure, but nobody
For
won't use
pleasure.
that. You have sometimes some very small grower we continue to use chemicals because it's too expensive to buy one tractor or too expensive to buy one machine, small machine with Caterpillar. It's already 50,000 euro. So it's so much. So, but when you are small, you want also change, but it's more easy that if you are more bigger. So the idea is we buy two tractor, and after we share all the cost. But if you have 10 hectare, you can go in the cooperative. If you have 0.1 hectare, you can also go.
Okay, great.
So if you have 10 hectare, you pay 100 times more than if you have 0.1 hectare. But we have in the group now, we have some very small grower who are super happy because now for it's very cheap. Finally, it's more cheap that if you of course have a big tractor for work the soil, but it's also more cheap that if you use chemicals for clean your soil.
Okay. Fantastic.
So this is very efficient, wonderful for the planet. All the big brands who buy the grapes are very happy and pay more expensive the grapes because they are sure that they are very clean grapes. And we know all the winemaker in Champagne know that the wine are better if you stop to use chemicals. So the wine are better, the vineyard is more healthy. So why not?
It's a great win. So you started this project 2 years ago. Well,
2 years
last year.
ago. Ouais,
So
we,
second
we
year in Queen, and you were saying that there are now other Kuma, other cooperatives
alors,
being created.
yes, yes. Alors, first, just about Urcuma. For the moment, we have two tractors,
Okay.
but in three different towns. So the idea is, after some year, maybe by 2 or 3 other tractor.
Okay.
For because we have still some grower around us who was not completely agree in the beginning, but now they see the work that we do and they say,
Okay.
can I
Can I
come?
come? Yes.
So for the moment, we want do 2025 and 2026 for be sure that everything work and that we can do a good job. And after we will develop the system. But yes, alors we was a little bit pilot, and the Comité Champagne push a lot and help us a lot for develop this
Yes.
first Kuma robot. So and in Quill, it's very interesting for the Comité Champagne because Quill is very very steep.
Yes.
So if this system work in Quill, it should work like
Everywhere.
almost everywhere in Champagne. Voilà. So I'm sure that this year 3 new Kuma will be
Okay.
created.
Created. Yes.
And I heard so much people. So maybe something like around 10 in 2026. I have a lot of call grower who ask
Okay.
me a question. A grower and some big brands also. We want
Yes.
we have like a house vineyard, but some grower around, and they want also create a Kuma for bring people together.
Yes, no, I think it's a great idea. So Cedric, you are part of the Syndicat Général des Vignerons. So you are stimulating the change from within, not like me from outside. So being part of the SGV and doing this project, because you mentioned the CIVC pushing, which I can understand. Is it easy or maybe not too difficult for you to convince other people in the syndicat? No, they don't want to. They
No, no,
don't
no.
want to know about the robots.
It's not really complicated. We know all the problem to bring 17,000 grower in that direction,
Yes.
and each people in the in the syndicat général des Vignons are agree to go in that direction. So 100%. So of course, me, I'm in the technical side in the committee in the syndicat général
Okay.
des Vignons. So and now we have a very good group who push a
Okay.
lot, and they follow us. We just need a lot of energy for develop all this type of project. But now we will have tomorrow one people in the Syndicat Général d'Union for help to all the Kuma development. Voilà. So
Okay.
we create everything. So I'm very happy because uh, everything move a lot.
Well,
We need of course some money. But voilà, we politically we work for like more money for so everything work in the good direction, and maybe I hope that soon we can avoid to see some yellow
yeah.
vineyard in
So are
Spain.
we are on Thursday when I go to the AG of the SGV, will I be hearing about your Kuma?
I don't know. I have no idea, but why not? Why not?
I would like to.
I don't know the program. We will see.
Oh, okay. I don't know. So I was just wondering. I was hoping that we could hear about it. So there's another thing I want to talk to you about is about my lovely friend Pumba. Uh, so Cedric basically has a whole lot of different animals, takes husbandry to a different level, not just sheep. And they are all working in the vineyard in the winter, I think. So Cedric, how does it work if you have, because if I remember right, you have sheep, you have pigs, and you have chickens, all working together in the vineyard in winter when you are not using the
Ah,
tractors. So how did you come up with that idea? How is it working? Because it's also been the second year that you've been doing that. And have you seen any difference in the soil life, for instance? Because, according to some of the studies that I went through for my book, they talk mainly about sheep, but having sheep in the vineyard is very, very good to stimulate biodiversity in the soil and obviously also in the vineyard.
alors, it was different step, but first my problem was we have some vineyard impossible to work with a tractor. So like more than 50%. And the tractor after 40% start to be very, very dangerous. So first was the employee of Alexandre Charton long times ago who came with his horses and worked the soil for me. So it was first the solution. But after we tried to buy 70 chicken. So with a chicken house in a trailer. Yeah, yeah. So the chicken stay 10 months per year in the vineyard. So this is very interesting. You see, 1 month ago, 2, 3 weeks, 1 month ago, we was a lot of small caterpillar
Yes.
who eat the buds in some vineyard. And I put my chicken in this vineyard, and we save 100% of the bud because
Okay.
the chicken eat the caterpillar.
Okay. C'est le mange-bourgeon.
Ouais, les manches bourgeons. So
Okay.
after you have one other interest, and now, Caroline, we have some analysis.
Yes.
We have a very high level of pH in my area because we have a lot of clay. So we are around 7.3, 7.4 in pH, and a
Yes.
good soil for have a beautiful life. It's 6.8. So sometimes you have your vineyard like the wood is very, very fine. Voilà. So when I see this type of vineyard, we are sure that we have so much food in soil. We have so much nutriment. The classic soil in Champagne is 1.5% of nutriment.
Okay.
So MO, matière organique.
Yes.
In our area, we are between 7% and 8%.
So yeah, you are between 7 and 8%
Yeah.
of organic material. All
It's
right.
exactly like you go in a kitchen, you have food everywhere, but you don't have the key for open the door.
Okay. All right.
So my work is find the key.
Okay.
So of course the compost, biodynamic compost is like a bomb of microorganisms, so it help a lot. When you do your 500, you bring 500 millions bacteria per cube centimeter.
Yes.
So you bring life. But about the pH, the chicken is wonderful because with the chicken poo, you can decrease the pH. So with
Okay.
70 chicken, one day is like you decrease 0.3 pH in
Okay.
for 0.01 hectare.
All right.
Okay. So and 1 hectare, 100 day.
Okay.
And you can observe the year after you would start like that, and after is like that.
Okay. All
So
right.
of course you have more vigor, your vineyard is more healthy, is more resilient, and
Yes.
we can control that. So now we control also like we control our blood, we control the SEP with SEP
Okay.
analysis, and we obtain like 22 different information. Of course the pH, but you have the iron, the magnesium, the silicate,
Yes.
enfin, molybdenum, and so much thing. And after that's why also I work in biodynamic. I don't believe that we can do only organic grower. We need biodynamic because biodynamic, you have a part of the answer in the world. You have bio,
Yeah.
organic, and you have dynamization.
Yes.
So here you have water. One drop of water, it's 100 millions of H2O.
Yes.
And it's a little bit complicated, but for be simple, you have links between HHO, HHO, and you have a links like that,
Yes.
oxygen, hydrogen. And one drop, it's so much links. And the stomach of the vineyard is very small. So if you arrive with one big drop, it's a problem. But if you do dynamization, you
Yes.
break the small links. And
Yes.
after, the drop can go in the vineyard. So if you have, for example, I give very often this example, you have a young mother who give a milk to the baby during 6 months. Most part of the time she need iron, so she don't sleep really good, she's sad, she can be sick. So you give some pills of iron to the young mother, and
Yes.
3 weeks later she's woohoo.
Okay.
Okay, so I believe that it's exactly the same for the vineyard. You
Okay.
imagine one barrel with 22 parts of wood, and just the iron are at 50%. So you have a liquid at 50% of the barrel, and you can fill the barrel. So
Okay.
my work is control if my vineyard is healthy, and be sure that everything is at 100%.
All right.
And in my vineyard today, I have some vineyard that we are in biodynamic way since more than 8 years. We have some 5, some 3, 2, 1. And we see when we do SEP analysis, for example, for my old vineyard, is everything at 100%,
Mm-hmm.
green light. Uh, the vineyard we are at 4, 5 years is more 3, 4 parameter at 70%.
Okay.
And the vineyard are very young in conversion is like 3 at less than 50%, so red light, dangerous, but no good, and 7 at 70%. So last year was very complicated year, 2024, 2 times the rain that we have
Yeah.
in a normal year. And finally, my vineyard, the old vineyard, resilient, was not sick.
Yes.
The vineyard was in conversion since 5 years. Maybe we lose 10, 15% of reps. And the new vineyard that I work since only 1 and 2 years were very fragile. We lose 50% of harvest. Voilà.
Okay.
So this is for me a wonderful espoir. I don't know how we
Hope.
say
Hope.
hope. I know. It's wonderful hope because you know the way to take. Alors, it's very simple. Like I explained now, we need to talk about that during hour, and I love talk about that. But I believe that today, if we work like in the Chinese medicine,
Yes.
it's like us exactly. We do some sport, we're doing good water, we
We
eat
eat right.
good
Yeah.
food. You're healthy. If you have a bad life, you never sleep, you eat enfin you eat I don't want to give like
Examples. Okay.
example, but for sure you can be sick and fragile. Voilà.
Yeah, you know,
So
basically it's like working in organic and biodynamic, obviously, is working in prevention. But I believe what you're saying is the biodynamic preparations together with the animals. So you gave the example of the chickens, but I presume the pigs and
you bring
basically the
life, you
sheep
bring
are
you
the
bring
same.
ecosystem. It's
What
wonderful.
you do is you improve the health, the resilience. When the soil is resilient, whatever grows on the soil will be resilient. Same as us. If we are resilient, if our body is resilient, we will get less disease. It's just so we just look after it. So that's it. So what do you do with the chickens? They stay 10 months in a vineyard. How do you protect them from foxes?
We have a wire
Okay.
around the plot with electric system, and we
Okay.
have a solar panel in the chicken house, and one battery. And the fox don't like that.
No, I know. I've seen Pixie. She's been hit by the electricity. She doesn't like it. And so the pigs and the sheep, you only bring them in winter before we have leaves because they would eat everything, I guess.
Alors the chip is just for clean the soil, like cut the
Yeah,
grass.
crazy.
Alors, for a moment, I don't have any more sheep because it was very, very complicated to take care.
Yes.
This type of sheep was scary. And when we move very often the animals, sometimes we was like a half day to run to 8 people around for
To,
keep
to
the.
get the sheep.
So
Okay.
my team say if you keep the black sheep, we leave. Voilà.
Okay. All right.
So I have to keep my team.
Okay.
Well, but now we have our pig, and the pig are one other interest. We put 5 months during the winter. We need soil very wet,
Yes.
and if you see during the summer your vineyard with some bad grass, I don't know, but like
Wheat.
ortie, chardon,
Yeah.
lison. The pig love this type of fruits.
Okay.
And if you have like not really clean vineyard during the winter, you put this pig, and they return the soil and they eat all. So it's like you clean completely your garden by hand. It's amazing the results, and
Okay.
they eat all the bad roots. So in the next summer, your
Okay.
vineyard is very clean.
Clean. All right. That's great.
No, this is amazing. Alors, I have seven
Yes.
pig. In 5 months, we work almost 2 hectares.
Okay. All right. So 7 pigs for 2 hectares. All right. So you need a little bit more than 2 pigs per hectare. A little bit less
Uh,
than two. Hold on.
ouais,
A little bit less.
yeah,
No,
but
4 pigs. Four
after
pigs per
I
hectare. Sorry, I can't count.
no worries, and we do a rotation, so we don't put the animals in the same vineyard year after year.
Yes, yes. Yeah,
Mais,
I actually, I a long time ago, I saw how you could adapt your vineyard, bring it up, do all different things, to have sheep in it all year round. And there was the importance, it was a scientist from Utah that was talking about it, and he was talking about the importance of emulating the herds of horses or buffalo or whatever, and saying that they all move, so that you need to be able to move them regularly, because at that moment in time, the soil can regenerate, because if you leave them in the same place,
yeah,
eventually
this is not good.
they will kill the soil. And there was really interesting results of that. So yeah,
I,
so
I try that one time with 70 chicken, and we live almost 2 months in 0.1 hectare,
ooh,
and it was a bomb. So the vineyard, it was for the harvest 2023,
oh yes.
and little bit rainy. So, but this vineyard was super vigorous, and the grapes like smell of vinegar 2 weeks before the harvest. So
Okay, all right.
we don't keep this vineyard. We don't cut. So it could be very benefits, but voilà.
You know,
We should.
you need to change them around. I see. Okay. So that's wonderful that you have these animals, and then you have the robots and everything else. Um, and most importantly, that you believe that the rest of Champagne is going to move towards a cleaner and greener way of farming, because I explained the other day, I was talking to a grower who's conventional, and he was telling me that it's really difficult to farm organic in years when the gods are not clement. So last year, for instance, it was a very difficult year. And I was telling him that it's really silly not to look after your soil, because if you are a baker, for instance, you buy an oven, you are not going to put things in the oven that will break the oven. What you will do is you will look after that oven, so you can write it off 10 years, 20 years, I don't know. But the vineyard is the primary tool for the winemaker, well, for any any farmer, basically. So I don't understand why we don't look after the soil, because you know when we have a healthy soil, like you were saying, eventually you get healthy vines, which are more resilient to a lot of different diseases and a lot of different things. So it's really nice. It would be nice, for instance, if you could give a little speech in French at that time for all the growers at for
We
instance, at the AGM or something, because I think that like you were saying with the robots, people don't use herbicides because they like chemicals, but because it's easy, it's cheap, it's the way they need to do it. But maybe when we talk to them in a different way, they can see things in a different way. It's very difficult to make people change, But generally, people change when they see that it's better to change than not. They need to see the advantages. We are all like this. I'm not saying it's just farmers. It's the same with me. We all need to do this. So, it would be nice that, for instance, if they could ask you and Jean-Marc and, Pascal Doquet and all the other people that are in the SGV and that are really trying to change from within, to share all the knowledge that they have, because I think it will benefit everybody. It's not, I know it's difficult and I know it's not easy to change the world, but I think that without information, we're never going to change. You, I think, are a perfect example of how uh, information from a young age, from traveling, working with the CIVC, doing the environmental studies, being aware of the carbon footprint so early on in your winemaking career, that basically shaped the whole way that you've looked at winemaking, at creating the new bottle, at working in the vineyard. So it's education that really is important. Is my point.
This is super
So
exciting.
it
But
is super exciting.
we,
But
we
education shouldn't be for the lucky ones. It should be for everybody, in my opinion. So maybe that's it.
we
So
do that a little bit every day, because we share so much with all our friends grower,
okay.
and but also with some big brands, and the champagne is in revolution now. I believe that everybody should take the train. Of course, some people need some times, and like I told before, the worst is maybe wake up a morning and say tomorrow all my vineyard will be organic. No, you need to take some plot and do experience and visit, share with grower. And also, if we talk about politics, the politics should help a maximum all the grower, all the system. For maybe sometimes we get one storm in one place and in other place.
Yeah.
Uh, so we can maybe declare and share some grapes to our friends. Today it's forbidden. Tomorrow I hope that it will be one possibility. So we have to, when we have a beautiful harvest in Champagne, we have to keep everything, because the next year could be super catastrophe. We don't
Yes.
know. We have so much example. So, and more you are organic, of course you take some risk, but if you have so much guarantee in the other side, it's not a problem to take a risk. Voilà.
Yeah,
And
and with me is I don't necessarily need everybody to convert to organic. Okay, I think a lot of people
yeah.
misinterpret that because I don't think that it's for everybody. I think you need to be convinced to be organic. I don't think
Mhm.
that if you're not convinced, it's the same as, I don't know, losing weight or wanting to run a marathon or anything. If you don't want to do it, you're not going to do it. You're going to try, you're going to fail. That's just the way it is. But I do believe that sharing this knowledge, like you say, getting everybody on the train, I think maybe we should use the Japanese system, maybe not the Kaizen, but the system of pushing people on the train, like you do in Tokyo, because you know, I think I think it's important to share that knowledge because like I think you are an example of this. I know a lot of houses are working well. I know a lot of growers are working well, but it's mainly the people that are growing by the kilo that today are not on that train, and they are a really big part of Champagne, so they
I know,
need
I know, I know.
somehow to get on the train as well.
But I believe that very soon, even if we talk about chemicals, the chemicals will be year after year
Yes,
less
there's less
efficient,
authorized.
less efficient. And I believe that soon, our growing will make more grapes. I believe that if some people see me now, they're laughing, but I'm sure that in 10 or 15 years, our growing will make, in average, more grapes than the chemicals growing.
There are studies about that the
Of
yields are
course.
higher in regenerative, or this was regenerative organic, but I think in all regenerative farming, that in the beginning people struggle, but very quickly you see that the yields are higher because what you were saying, the plants are more resilient. So there were studies in Paso Robles, obviously a very hot climate, but also in other climates. So, because everything basically, in wet climates or in hot climates, you still need to be able to get the nutrients that you need from the soil.
Mm.
Anyway, Cédric, I have kept you for a very long time. I really, really enjoyed this talk. It was so wonderful. It really was. It was so wonderful to talk about all these different subjects, see that it is possible, like you said, if it's possible, if it's possible in krill, it's possible everywhere. So, I really hope that a lot of people watch this video. Maybe we should have done it in French for the growers to watch, but, I think, you're in a good place to try and convince people to come to your way of farming.
I
And
do that a little bit every day.
I think we didn't talk about it now, but I think the fact that you are selling very well your wine should also be a selling point for this way of farming, because we can see that the consumer wants this. So I just want to say thank you again for
Thank you,
your
Caroline.
time, and hopefully I see you soon.
Yes, please.
Yes, I will. I will come see you. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye, Caro.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Thank you. Let me just see.